They laughed at her first. That cruel, echoing laughter that makes your chest burn and your eyes sting. Emily Parker stood in front of her 8th grade class, clutching her presentation note cards like a lifeline. Her voice had been steady when she said it. My mom is a Navy SEAL. But as soon as the words left her lips, the room erupted with disbelief. Girls can't be SEALs. You're such a liar. Yeah, right. Next you'll say she wrestled a shark. Every mocking word felt like a dagger. Emily's face flushed hot, her throat tightening as she tried to defend herself. It's true, she shouted, her voice trembling. She just doesn't talk about it because it's classified. But the more she insisted, the louder the jeers became. Even her teacher, Mrs. Robinson, gave her a skeptical look. Emily, it's important to be honest in your work, she said, her tone carrying the weight of dismissal. Emily sat down, fighting tears. She had always known her mom, Commander Sarah Parker, was different, quiet, disciplined, carrying an aura of strength that most parents didn't. But her mom never flaunted it. She never wore the uniform at home, never spoke about missions, never bragged. And now, Emily felt punished for telling the truth. For weeks, the whispers followed her in the hallways. SEAL girl, liar, attention seeker. At lunch, kids moved away from her table. Even her best friend, Mia, avoided eye contact, afraid of being dragged into the ridicule. Emily began to regret saying anything at all. She would walk home alone, head down, until she reached her house, a modest 2-story home with a flag swaying in the front yard. Inside, her mother's warm smile would greet her, but Emily couldn't bring herself to tell her about the bullying. How could she? Her mom was brave, unshakable. What would she think of a daughter too weak to handle a few mean kids? But everything changed one ordinary Tuesday morning. It was during history class, the lesson dragging on about Cold War politics, when the loud crash of boots thundered down the hallway. Shouts echoed through the corridors, sharp and commanding. The classroom door burst open with a force that made the walls rattle. In stormed a team of Navy SEALs, clad in tactical gear, rifles slung across their chests. Their presence filled the room like a tidal wave of authority. Helmets, night vision attachments, the SEAL Trident insignia gleaming on their uniforms, it was real. Not a movie, not a story. Every single student froze. And then, as the dust settled, a figure stepped forward, pulling off her helmet. Her hair spilled free, damp with sweat from training, and her piercing blue eyes swept the classroom. It was Sarah Parker, Emily's mom. The silence was deafening. The kids who had laughed now sat pale-faced, their mouths half open, as if words had abandoned them. Mrs. Robinson gripped her desk, stunned. Emily, Sarah said, her voice calm but commanding. You left your lunch at home again. Thought I'd bring it by. A ripple of stunned laughter broke out. Not cruel this time, but nervous, disbelieving. Emily sat frozen in her chair, her cheeks burning. She wanted to melt into the floor, but at the same time, her chest swelled with something she hadn't felt in weeks, pride. Sarah turned her gaze on the class. I hear there's been some talk about honesty. She didn't raise her voice, but it carried through the room like a drill sergeant's command. For the record, yes, women can be SEALs. And yes, I am one. If anyone doubts my daughter again, they can come to me. The unit behind her stood like statues, their presence alone enough to silence the most skeptical. One boy who had mocked Emily the loudest muttered under his breath, holy crap. When the SEALs left as quickly as they came, the room was forever changed. No one dared look at Emily the same way again. At lunch, kids whispered apologies. Mia sat with her again, awkwardly but earnestly trying to make amends. Even Mrs. Robinson gave her a nod of respect. But Emily wasn't looking for their approval anymore. That moment had given her something far more powerful. That night, Emily finally told her mom everything, the teasing, the loneliness, the shame. Sarah listened quietly, her strong hand resting over Emily's trembling one. When Emily finished, Sarah looked at her with the same unshakable calm she had in the classroom. You know what makes a SEAL, Emily? She asked softly. It's not the gear, or the training, or the missions. It's the ability to keep going when everyone else doubts you. To believe in yourself when no one else does. Today, you proved you have that in you. Tears welled in Emily's eyes, but this time they weren't from hurt. They were from pride. The next day at school, Emily walked in with her head held high. The whispers were still there, but different now, curious, even respectful. But she didn't need their validation. She knew the truth. She had lived it, and deep down, she carried her mother's words with her like armor. Strength isn't about what others see. It's about what you carry inside. By the end of that year, when her teacher asked the class to write about their heroes, Emily didn't hesitate. She wrote about her mom, not just as a Navy SEAL, but as the woman who taught her what courage really meant. And this time, no one laughed.